Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy OmarioRpg. Hopefully everyone's having a great day, wherever you are in the world. And you guys have asked for it. Let's do it. Denethor. All we know about Denethor, when you've watched the movies, is that he's a bit of a nut job. And he loves his tomatoes. I mean, whether you like it or not, that's the truth. And he was allergic to fire. That too. Yeah. Very rare. Very rare disease, being allergic to fire. But he was a unique individual. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out History of the Ages as well. I'm sure you guys know them all. Amazing channel. Let's get into this. Bada boom, bada bing. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the Patreon. And as you can see, I've got all my socials above OmarioRpg. All across the board. Let's go. Oh, and join the Discord. The Discord's like a really good way to... So basically what you can do in the Discord is you can suggest your video and your video will pop up. I hope that makes sense. Like, it will show everything. The video will be there. I can just click on it. It's so simple. It's so simple. And you can also talk in there about Lord of the Rings stuff, gaming. We've got pets. Everything is in the Discord. Go check it out. You won't regret it. And if you are a shy person, like the Discord isn't it's not like a open Discord, if that makes sense. So nobody's going to be talking to you or anything like that. It's just a text like based Discord. Does that make sense? But yeah, let's get into the video. Go do all of that. Let's do this. Also, we are so close to 300 subscribers. Let's hit it. Let's try and hit it. 15 subscribers. I'm sure 15 of you haven't subscribed. Let's try and hit it. Let's go.
And welcome to History of Middle-earth.
Welcome.
Today we are having a look at the man of Denethor II.
Build me a throne worthy of Mordor.
Now, when I put out a previous video on the Prince of Dol Amroth Imrahil, I asked you guys to give us the comment of tomatoes if you wanted a video looking at the Steward of Gondor during the Lord of the Rings.
British Fanta.
And there was an overwhelming amount of you who asked for it, so here it goes. When you hear of Denethor, most people will think straight away of a crazed old man who loved one son a lot more than the other.
Yep.
But is it fair to think of him this way? As, to be fair, there was a lot that he did during his life, and the events of the Lord of the Rings only show one small section of that. Denethor II would be born in the year 2930 of the Third Age, and would become the 26th ruling Steward of Gondor. He would take up this title after the passing of his father Ecthelion II in the year 2984, meaning Denethor was 54 years old when he actually became steward. It was said that Denethor was even ripe for the stewardship by the time of his coming, as it describes of him in Appendix A of the Lord of the Rings, and it says, Denethor II was a proud man, tall, valiant, and more kingly than any man that had appeared in Gondor for many lives of men, and he was wise also, and farsighted, and learned in lore. Now, this certainly does not sound like a crazed old man willing to burn him and his own son alive. So what happened to drive him to this point? Well, first, let's just rewind for a moment to his earlier life.
My guess is like most kings, the fear of losing his throne.
Before being steward, as this could explain some deeper feelings of jealousy he might reveal later. If we look back and see how Denethor was described as having the appearance of kings of Gondor of old, but he was not the only one around that was described like this. There was another man, named Thorongil, that had also come into the service of his father, Ecthelion. This Thorongil was a genius at war, and very quickly won the trust and affections of not just Ecthelion, but the people as well, with many of the people seeing Thorongil as Denethor's rival. This man would also talk in favour of the wizard Gandalf, whereas Denethor had no trust for this old wanderer. But who was this man? Well, for those of you who do not know, this was a younger Aragorn. Yes, the same Aragorn that would be the future King of Gondor. It is possible that Denethor was actually able to figure this out in time, and believed that he had conspired with the Grey Pilgrim Gandalf to drive him away from the stewardship of Gondor. So when Thorongil, or Aragorn, would finally leave, Denethor was not at all sorry to see the back of him, and this is...
Wait, but didn't he say that Thorongil and Denethor were boys? How many names does Aragorn have? Jeez! Sorry, I need a minute to breathe. Okay. So he was his right-hand man, basically, out of stage. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's crazy. I probably did know that, but I've forgotten it because I've watched so many lore videos now.
This is an event that would explain, at least in part, his unwelcoming appearance that we would see in The Lord of the Rings. Now we can go back closer to when Denethor would become Steward, when he would marry his wife, Finduilas. Again, quoting from Appendix A, it says, "When Denethor became Steward, 2984, he proved a masterful lord, holding the rule of all things in his own hand. He said little, he listened to counsel, and then followed his own mind. He had married late, 2976, taken as wife Finduilas, daughter of Adrihil of Dolamroth. She was a lady of great beauty and gentle heart, but before 20 years had passed she died. Denethor loved her, in his fashion, more dearly than any other, unless it were the elder of the sons that she bore him." Now this is where we would see more of a jealous side of Denethor. He doted after his eldest son Boromir, but Faramir did many things that displeased him. After all, Faramir was friends with Gandalf, the Grey Wanderer, and due to his constant jealousy of the memory of this Wanderer and the man Thorongil, he would never be accepting of him.
So was Boromir not friends with Gandalf?
He would actually take a lot of this time to devote himself to his studies. He became an expert in many areas, such as the lore of Gondor, where he learned from the archives that only he and his father had access to, as well as taking an extremely great interest in the lore of the Palantiri, which would prove a great downfall in his future.
Damn.
Now we move into his stewardship, and although initially people didn't hold him as highly as their memory of Thorongil, Denethor would win over his people and prove to be a great ruler in time. But sadly, things would turn dark in his life, and his wife Finduilas would pass away. After her death, it is said Denethor changed as a person.
That'll happen.
He became more grim and silent than he had been before. He would sit for long times, completely alone in his tower with his own thoughts, foreseeing the assault that Mordor would bring to his own doorstep long before its time would truly come. It even came to the point that, believing he needed more and more knowledge, that he would succumb to the temptation to look into the Palantir of the White Tower, which was also known as the Anor Stone, and that got its name from the old title of Minas Tirith, Minas Anor. No steward before him had ever dared to do this after the fall of Minas Ithil, with the enemy gaining control of the Palantir of Isildur, also known as the Ithil Stone. Although this turned out to be a large influence in the downfall of Denethor, it also represents how strong he truly was. In this way, Denethor gained his great knowledge of things that passed in his realm and far beyond his borders, at which men marvelled. But he bought the knowledge dearly, being aged before his time by his contest with the will of Sauron. Thus pride increased in Denethor together with despair, until he saw in all the deeds of that time only a single combat between the Lord of the White Tower and the Lord of Barad-dûr, and mistrusted all others who resisted Sauron, unless they served himself alone.
Damn.
So although Denethor managed to gain knowledge that was wondered by all his people, Sauron would learn of his usage and attempt to bring the will of the Anor Stone to his own. However, Denethor's strength of will was so great, his integrity was strong, and his right use of the stone meant that he could withstand this test from the Dark Lord himself. However, there were side effects of this. Denethor would add extreme stress onto the body of an already weakened man. His body would age much faster than that of a normal man, but he would still withstand. It is also said at this time that Denethor would not only look towards Mordor, but also Isengard, and that he would look to gain more knowledge from the wizard Saruman too. Denethor had always been so determined and driven to surpass the knowledge and wisdom of both Thorongil and Gandalf that he was willing to go as far as he could to succeed in this. With this he developed extreme tunnel vision, only looking at what Sauron and his own people were doing. This led to a mistrust in anyone else, including allies, even to the point he would constantly be dressed in chainmail underneath his clothing so that he would not become too soft from his aging. The great man who would listen to all and take counsel now barely trusted a soul. Now would come the time of the War of the Ring, and he would send his son Boromir, albeit reluctantly, to Rivendell after Faramir had recurring dreams speaking of Isildur's bane and Imladris. This would be yet another event that drove Denethor further into madness, as Boromir would never return, being shot by Uruk-hai during an ambush on his quest. Both Denethor and Faramir would actually hear the Horn of Gondor from their home one day, with the horn itself washing up several days later, being brought to Denethor after being found. This led to a grieving Denethor to turn once again to the Palantir, as he began to gaze into it more often than he had ever previously done before. 13 days would pass from him being
You forget how good of an actor Denethor in the movies was when you think about it.
brought his son's horn to Gandalf arriving with the hobbit Pippin at Minas Tirith. Denethor took an unusual interest in the hobbit due to him being with his son in his final moments, wishing to be able to continuously question him of their quest. Gandalf would tell Denethor of the fall of Isengard, but Denethor would talk of his own abilities to see what is happening in the world outside of his own walls, believing that he knew more than the wizard, just as he had always wished. But we know most of this and what happens next from the story of the Lord of the Rings. Denethor and his council would send his son Faramir back to help strengthen Osgiliath, which was realistically considered as a suicide mission, but Faramir went nonetheless as it was his father's will. Faramir would be struck by a black dart and brought back to Denethor. It is here that Denethor finally completely gives up, and gives in to his despair. He now cared for nothing but his youngest son's life, something that had not seemed possible earlier when, although it was never said out loud, he had wished that it was Faramir who had died instead of Boromir. Denethor would give in to this despair by once more going back and looking into the Palantir. He saw the armies of Mordor, the ships sailing down the river, the sky being black, and Frodo having been captured in Mordor. All was lost in his eyes. But this one last battle of wills cost Denethor dearly. It aged him greatly once more, but in a much shorter space of time than before. It was as though years had passed in minutes, and this led to his will snapping. He gave up the defence of Minas Tirith and refused to leave Faramir's side, and upon hearing of the first circle now being up in flames, that was the last straw. The only option now was suicide. A pyre was prepared, and despite Beregond, by the warning of Pippin, and along with Gandalf trying to stop him, he would lay himself down on a table, Palantir in hand, and pass away from the world. However, Gandalf did manage to save Faramir from the same fate, who inherited the title of Steward, but not ruling Steward, as Aragorn had finally returned. It is also said that the Anor stone that he died with was no longer usable, and that anybody who looked into it after this event only saw 2 flaming hands. Wow. So now we have reached the end of Denethor's life.
What a sick story. Oh my god. Jeez, this guy's life could have been a movie on its own. Wow. The more you know, man, the more you know. The more you know.
We can see that he was actually a great and powerful ruler, greater than a lot that came before him. Sadly though, he took his obsession for knowledge and to be wiser than others too far by challenging even Sauron in a battle of wills that took him to his death when he could no longer withstand.
I love the small the part where he uses the power and it ages him as well. That's so smart. That's so smart.
I do actually believe that had he ruled solely in a time of peace, he would have gone down as one of Gondor's greatest ever rulers. So my question for you today is, after hearing his entire story, do you think the portrayal of him in the movie adaptations is actually a bit unfair?
They should have included the I forgot what it's called, the stone thing. They should have included all of that. I guess it would have been way too long. You should have seen it in the movies, right? You should have seen that he's like, I guess, addicted to it, right? Then you would have thought, oh, okay. And maybe a flashback to his wife dying as well would have helped. But you know, the movies are amazing, but I'm just saying, in a perfect world, right? I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know.
So thank you for watching and getting to the end of the video. And please
drop that was one of my favourite videos. That was so good. Shout out to everyone who said, react to Denethor, man. Wow. I do believe I read somewhere that when Sauron couldn't break Denethor's will, he changed what Denethor actually saw through the Palantir. It couldn't lie, but Sauron shifted what Denethor saw towards only the things bad for Gondor. The depressing and dark side of Middle-earth. Kinda like our news. Look how smart Sauron is, man. I don't know if that's true. He poisoned his mind. Wow. The important thing to note is that Denethor's will and morals were stronger than those of Saruman. Wow. Man, Sauron's such a genius, man. Denethor in the movies is depicted as a fool and madman. Yeah, he pretty much is, isn't he? In the books, Minas Tirith was already empty on his orders, with only the bare minimum of civilians present. He organized the defense of Gondor until the arrival of Sauron's army. He was strong and willful with much foresight, but through the Palantir, Sauron had sapped away his hope by showing Denethor an exaggeration of his own strength. He was good at jumping, that's for sure. Where's the tomato quotes, man? The movie betrays him as callous. The book's tempered that with his wisdom and mention of his better moments. A good man broken by circumstance. Damn, that was such a good video. So now that we're at the end of the video, I need to talk to you guys. Obviously, this month has been a bit slower for me because, well, I've been doing Ramadan. If you're not sure what Ramadan is, I'm Muslim, so I fast 30 days. So sometimes 31 days. It's all down to the moon. And it's very close to ending, so I'll be back streaming a lot more. I've only been streaming like 2 hours a day and reacting to videos like once or twice a day, which is why you may think, oh, I've told him to react to this and he hasn't reacted it. I will, but I'm just taking it easy because basically I can't drink water or eat food in the day. So just bear with me on that. 7 days left of Ramadan, and we'll be everything will be back to normal. I'm just taking it easy. What else was I going to say? Yeah, go check out my Twitch. I'd really, really appreciate it. We're so close to 600 followers on Twitch. If you're wondering what a follower on Twitch is, if you're new, it's basically a subscriber on YouTube. Same thing, you just click the follow button. It's completely free. I'd really appreciate it. And if you are into gaming, or just, like chilling and talking, or maybe you want someone talking in the background while you're working, if you leave my Twitch on, or anything like that, it's really, really supportive to me. So twitch.tv/OmarioRpg. It's right there. Go follow my Twitch. The link will be in the description. And yeah, other than that, here's what I'm going to start doing. The reason I've left this for the end of the video is because I know most of the OGs who love the channel will watch this and listen to it. What I'm going to start doing is like grouping up certain videos, right? So currently, I just recently done a Faramir video, so I thought, okay, let's do Denethor, and then you probably can't see at the top, but I've got Boromir ready. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna start doing this more often, just so we not get those out of the way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I love learning about these characters, but like just so we move on from that area and those types of characters. So if I'm reacting to Gandalf, I may as well react to Saruman and other wizards, and so on and so forth. I know a lot of people have been asking for Beric and Luthien, but those are very big videos, man. Very chunky videos. Where is it? These ones are the ones I want to react to. And there's 2 of those from the Men of the West, and they're 40 minutes, right? Those are chunky videos. We'll leave those for another time. But yeah, Beric and Luthien will definitely be on the channel, don't worry. And everything else you've asked for. But here's my question, and just so I know, and I can come back to this video for it. If there was one video, if there was one piece of lore that you'd like me to react to, what would it be and why? Post in the comments down below. I'll come back to this video, and if there's anything I've missed and I haven't added to my list, which, by the way, is a very big list. Some of these aren't Lord of the Rings stuff. Some of them are Harry Potter stuff, just random stuff. Let me know. I have a ginormous list. Just in case people don't think I add stuff to the list. Today, I got told about Gildor Inglorion. Where could Tom Bombadil have come from? Lord of the Rings, Beregond. Fredegar Bolgar, the 5th Hobbit. I found a really interesting video on my own. Someone trying to recast Lord of the Rings for today. The history of Lothlorien, which I found because, as you can see, all your comments are here. I react to them one by one. I believe it was Annie, God bless her. Blonde elf. So I googled Haldir. I really wanted to react to this guy, but I couldn't find anything about him. All I found was a video about Haldir, the actor, something like that. So Not much there. But like I said, if there is a video you want me to react to, comment down below what you would like me to react to. Just one. Just choose one, right? I've got so many on the list, but just choose one, and I'll try and get to those as soon as possible. Other than that, sorry about the long waffling at the end of the video. Other than that, please subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 300 subscribers. Oh, one more thing. I will be watching The Hobbit. I am a man of my word, don't worry. I'm just waiting for Ramadan to be over so I can have more time to be watching shows, so on and so forth. I don't want to be reacting to The Hobbit when I'm hungry and thirsty. Or when it's night time when I've got stuff in my face all night, because that's the only time I can eat or drink. So just so you know, The Hobbit will be around the corner, and I can't wait to watch it. 300 subscribers, let's get to it. 600 followers on Twitch. Just everyone go follow my Twitch, man. I'd really, really appreciate it. And if you do get a notification of when I'm live on Twitch, and you've got a second monitor, it'd be really, really nice of you to just pop open my Twitch. You don't even have to say hello. Just having my Twitch open is really, really supportive. Thank you so much anyway. Enough of me waffling. I really, really appreciate you guys, man. This has been a crazy month for me on YouTube, and I can't wait to just carry on rolling and getting bigger and bigger on YouTube, man. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being you. Peace out, and God bless.